Something I haven't talked a lot about here recently is what is often referred to as the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. This is a movement that really took off during the Great Recession, where people really started to really ratchet back expenses, start to invest in the stock market. We saw folks like the financial samurai. I think he retired about 11 or 12 years ago with about $3 million invested. This was something that really took off. I just saw an article with, or a blog, podcast with Ramit, where he had Mindy and Carl Mindy from Bigger Pockets fame talk about the FIRE movement. And it's interesting to see, now that the FIRE movement's over a decade old, what is happening behind the scenes. So I thought I'd talk to Taylor about financial independence, retire early movement first, and then talk about the realities some people are going through. So Taylor, have you heard of this movement? What do you think?
So this is a movement that I did not know of in my old Wall Street career. Fire is, kind of the opposite of what Wall Street does. And that was something until I broke into social media, et cetera, and started building out life goal investments from a social media perspective. Fire was not something I was ever aware of. And maybe it was kind of a confluence of events. One, I wasn't in the right medium or platform to see it. And two, it exploded right during
Right.
COVID, et cetera. And so maybe that made it present to my mind. I'm curious to start this. Do you consider yourself someone who is fire?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. When I retired at 45, I started sharing my story, and the FIRE movement people came at me. And it was about 80-20. About 20 of them would say, hey, you are FIRE, right? Congratulations, retired at 45. But dude, 80% of them were attacking me. 80% of the FIRE movement doesn't like real estate investors. Seriously. They're like, what are
Interesting.
you doing? Debt, blah, 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 cash flow. Seriously, 80-20, 80% were attacking me and saying, don't you call yourself FIRE? You're not FIRE, because they were all about, living on ramen noodles and,
Well, they're right,
getting rid of
because
their
who
cars.
cares about cash flow, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, I don't know about you, but 45, now I've been out for 6 years and my cash flow's up, not down since then. I mean, hey, yeah, but no, it was really funny. The FIRE movement, they don't like real estate investors. They
So
hate us.
fire to them, the traditional fire, I guess, is literally you're not working.
You're not working. It's all stocks. It's all stocks. They're
Interesting.
the FIRE movement, like the Legion, is all 4% rule, which was our topic number 2. If you do it
Interesting.
any other way, you are not FIRE in their mind. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you not realize there's other ways to get this done? Oh, by the way, did you check out my freaking month-long vacation in, Southeast Asia, you butthead? Man, they throw hate. I mean, like real hate. It's crazy.
Interesting. No, yeah. So again, the financial, and I've even seen it broken out into many different formats of, like, I guess it's traditional fire, lean fire, which means you're eating ramen
Almost
noodles,
there.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
fat fire, which is like you're really good kind of thing. Yeah, I've seen it broken out in many different formats, all amongst uh just things I've seen in the last year.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So one of the guys I was following when I did retire at 45, which is 6 years ago now, just crazy, was the financial samurai.
Right.
Because again, when I broke into social media, he was really big and he was, like he was the guy, at least that's my opinion. And I don't know if you've seen it, but in the last 6 months or so, he's had to go back to work, right?
Interesting.
The stock market drop hurt him significantly. Also, he's now married with kids. I think he has 2 children, and he's looking at his $3 million portfolio and going, I can't afford their education. So he's going back to work. So again, it's being dependent on the stock market, not all it's cracked up to be.
I can't imagine how much money I would need to have. Now, granted, I'm married with 2 kids and a third on the way. So I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know how much money I would have to feel comfortable saying I'm out. Like it would have to be a really big number. Like 3 million by no stretch of the imagination would do it. I would say maybe 10, something like that, to realistically say. I'm just also one of those people that doesn't like drawing down on numbers. And again, as I get to retirement, like I'm gonna have to get over that hurdle. I totally
Yeah.
get that. But I like building up on numbers more than I do like drawing down on them. And even something simple as a side gig, side hustle, part-time job, I want to see money coming in. To your point, real estate has done, phenomenal work for you over the years. I have real estate exposure myself, not nearly as much as you do, but nonetheless, I find it very fascinating that people can have a comfort level at $3 million, if that is the number, to step aside and say, I am fine at 35, 40 years old, however old he is, that until I'm 90 years old, that's how old people live these days.
Yeah.
And I have multiple kids that have multiple college educations coming down the line. It's shocking me that they would feel comfortable doing that.
But dude, 3 million bucks, 4%, 120K a year.
By the way, that doesn't take into account taxes. If it's 401k, you're not taking it out. He's too young to take that out, I believe. So he's, it's long-term capital gain probably. So he's paying 15%, and all of a sudden you're getting hit from that standpoint. Cost of living, inflation took off like crazy over the last couple of years. If you have to buy a car right now, good luck. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's so many things that go in, and just that inherent unknown is what shocks me, that people feel that comfort level to step away.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, this is why I think people, I'm not against building a very large $1 million stock or mutual fund portfolio, ETF, whatever that is. Just like yourself, have another piece of this. Because again, if you had a real estate portfolio, even if it was just 25 or 30% of everything, it would have been up 40%. Cash flow would have doubled, tripled, or quadrupled, right? It would have been that extra piece. And oh, by the way, what I tell a lot of parents is, like, I probably told 100 parents, like, hey, you have a newborn, go buy a house, go buy a rental. Because what happens over 18 years, basically the house gets paid off. At 18 years old, give it to them. If they want to go to college, great. They want to borrow against it, great. They want to start a company, great. Think about that gift you would give them.
Yeah, the optionality is huge, no doubt about it.
Yeah. So again, there's other things. And then the other thing, I read an article, or actually I saw I read an article. It was on Fortune article about Ramit Singh, I think his name is, or whatever, some podcast with Mindy and Carl. Mindy from Bigger Pockets fame, Mindy Jensen. And apparently her and her husband are FIRE with about, near as I can tell, 4 million bucks in assets. And in the article, it really, yeah. So they're 50, right? So they're not 35, or at least they're over 50, according to the article. So a couple decades older. But what they're struggling with now is enjoying life, right? They were FIRE for so long. They have a scarcity mindset where they struggle to spend money, right? They talked about an experience where their daughter bought a $20 breakfast item and it freaked them out.
Yeah.
Right. So again, if you build that discipline for 5-10 years, it could be hard to break and really eat at you.
I unfortunately, and this is like a gift and a curse, I have that mentality a little bit as it is. And I don't know, I didn't grow up dirt floor poor. I grew up like everybody else in this, everyone else that fit that lower middle income, time frame, that everyone, I guess everyone that's had some struggles growing up financially, which is everybody, right? For the most part. So I'm not unique, but I still have that like really tough to pull money out of my pocket kind of mentality. And I can't imagine what that would become if I just said, I'm done. I like, it would be a brutal household to live in. Like, what do you think you're doing? You didn't buy the store brand, you bought whatever. It would be brutal. Yeah.
Don't turn off the light. Why is your light on still?
Exactly. You turn on the AC, it's only 82 outside.
So what are you doing? Yeah.
It's a very interesting perspective. I do see that as becoming an issue with people. If, again, that's how retired people live, where they live on a fixed income, and they don't spend money. I mean, I see my grandparents, my one set of grandparents are a little bit younger, and they don't spend money, and their portfolio, it is stock portfolio. It continues to go up, and, over the last 10 years, and they haven't touched it. And it's like, guys, you're just going to leave this to us. Get out there and spend some, have some fun. And they can't do it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So at the end of the day, I like the FIRE movement for what it brings. I do wish the leaders that push FIRE were not so hateful of real estate investors. I think 80% of them attacking. I actually have comments. I think I saved them saying, you're a real estate investor, you can't be FIRE. I'm like, what? Really?
It's funny because I actually, again, I obviously haven't paid nearly as much attention to this as you have. I thought the FIRE movement was built by real estate investors, honestly, because it seems like it makes a ton of sense. They go kind of hand in hand together. If you built out a big enough portfolio of real estate, the cash flow sets you up. I actually thought the FIRE movement was built by real estate investors, but obviously I'm very wrong.
Yeah, no, at least the ones that attacked me, and maybe it was the silent few that were very attacking me under multiple names. But yeah, they're apparently 4% stock folks. And they're like, no, you got to get to a number, 4%, live on 4%. I'm like, man, what kind of life is that? Sheesh.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
there you go. Well, Taylor, do me a favor. You do a lot of great things on social media. Where can people find you?
Yeah, find us at Life Goal Investments, both Instagram and TikTok. It's at Life Goal Investments.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate you, Michael.